Newsflash, prime rib is expensive. Yeah, there's some earth-shattering news. But it's so good. Hot, juicy, delicious. Man, I love prime rib. But prime rib doesn't have to be that expensive. We can do better. Today I'm going to show you how to save money on prime rib. How much money? You're going to have to stay to find out. Let's go. My name is Brad and I am the Butcher Wizard. On this channel, we cut meat, we cook meat, we eat meat. And today I'm going to give you my #1 biggest secret on how to save money on prime rib. And I want you to stay to the end of the video because we're going to do everyone's favorite segment. This segment is sweeping the nation. It's called Butcher Math, where I attempt to not embarrass myself doing public math about how much money we save. So definitely stay with us for that. First thing we're gonna do, let's go shopping for some prime rib. We're on a mission, let's go find some prime rib. This is my local grocery store, and I'm gonna show you the 2 offerings they have when it comes to prime ribs. The first one is where they take the bones and they cut the bones off and they tie them back on. The reason they do that is because you can roast it on the bone and it's easier to carve that way. The second way that they have is you can get them to cut you a boneless prime rib. The problem with the boneless prime rib here is they charge you the same price as for a ribeye, and which we're going to talk about later is really expensive. So we can do way better than that. And I want to show you one more store on how they do their prime ribs. This is Costco. And you all know this is like one of my favorite places on earth. They have a couple ways to get prime ribs also. First, they have cut boneless prime ribs. You can just pick it up and go. But if you slide down the meat case and turn a corner, you will find the whole ribeyes. And that is where the magic happens. That's where we save a ton of money. How much money? I'm going to go over that later. But for now, let's go back home. I'm going to break this thing open and I'm going to show you how to cut it yourself. So this is our whole ribeye that we got from Costco. It weighs in about 16 pounds. So all we're gonna do is cut our prime ribs out of the whole ribeye. Basically, a prime rib is just a big section of ribeye. I'm gonna show you how to cut your own prime rib off of this subprimal cut. The first thing we're gonna do though is take this out of the package. So we're gonna go to the sink and I'm gonna show you my technique for getting it out of the package in the cleanest way possible. All right, so you can see that in our ribeye, a lot of the liquid has pooled at the bottom of this. Now, this is not blood, this is myoglobin. Myoglobin is a mixture of protein and water that leaches out of the meat itself, but it is not blood. What we're gonna do is, to do this the easiest and cleanest way possible, is we're gonna bring in a lot of paper towels. We are gonna make a nice bed of paper towels that we are going to put our piece of meat on. You're then gonna take your knife and cut a big X all the way down. Open it up so that the corners are out of the package. And then we're going to take our ribeye, pick it up, let it drip for a second, put it on the paper towels. We do this next to the sink so that we can wrap all this up and it goes right into the sink. Then we take more paper towels and we go ahead and dry the surface. Now we are ready to cut our ribeyes. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is determine which end we're gonna start with. So on this end is the chuck end. It looks kind of like, the cross section looks like a ribeye, so we can kind of really hone in on that. And the other side is the short loin end. So it kind of looks almost like a New York strip, so it gets leaner as it goes down. So I like to start with the chuck end because this area right here is where you're gonna have the most spinalis. So the most ribeye cap is gonna be in this area right here, and it gets leaner as it goes. So that ribeye cap is that delicious, succulent piece of meat that is on the ribeye that just like everybody loves. So we're gonna start from the chuck end. I just kind of squared up the ends just so we could look at it. You don't have to square up the ends. We're gonna roast the whole thing, so it's not that necessary. But if you want to make it look pretty, you can. So basically what's gonna happen is we are going to measure over however many people we have. So we're gonna say about 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch to about an inch per person. So that's just a good rule of thumb. If you got some big eaters, you wanna go a little bit bigger, you can. Prime rib leftovers are delicious, so it doesn't matter in that case. So I will actually break out a tape measure just to kind of make sure I'm in the ballpark. I've been known to overshoot my measurements a lot. So we can go ahead and say, let's say I have 5 people. So we're gonna go 5 inches. So here we go, and we're gonna go right to this point. And what I'll do is I'll take my knife and I'll just kind of score right there so I know where to start. You're gonna take a long knife, like I'm using a 10-inch breaking knife from the Butcher Wizard collection, but you can use any knife that you have as long as it's long enough and nice and sharp. So what we're gonna do is right at that point where I scored, we're gonna go ahead and take our knife and cut into that fat cap a little bit, and then we're going to keep going down. And then we're gonna try to pull it back as in one sweeping motion as much as we can. Clean that up. And then here is our beautiful prime rib. We got, so this right here is that spinalis muscle, that ribeye cap. So we're going to come back and trim this up a little bit more and tie it up. But this is basically all it is. So when we talk about the money savings later, I want you to understand it is one cut and a little bit of trimming. So it's very, very easy to do. But here is our beautiful prime rib right there. Here is our beautiful prime rib. It looks really good. Before we get to trimming the prime rib, I wanted to tell you all about the Primal Cuts Club. The Primal Cuts Club is my private, members-only community in which I will teach you personally how to do all kinds of butchery activities. So we're talking about breaking down a strip, a ribeye, a tenderloin, a chuck roll, all kinds of stuff that's in the club that I have these top-down culinary school style videos in which I teach you directly on how to cut meat. It's unlike my YouTube videos because it's basically just the facts. So we got a top-down camera. It's so detailed. Also, if you get stuck, twice a month we have a live Q&A call where you can ask me a question directly. We can talk face-to-face through video chat. It's really cool. Sometimes we're chit-chatting, having a good time. Other times we're doing live cuts. Other times it's just all Q&A. We have the whole gamut so I can personally teach you how to cut meat and save a ton of money on meat. If you thought this video was cool, how much money I'm gonna save you, you don't even know what's in the club. Your mind is gonna be blown. Go ahead and go to the link in the description to get more information and join the club. I cannot wait to see you in our next live call. Now let's get back to the prime rib. What do you do with all the rest of this? Now you can do a couple things. You can cut a whole nother prime rib with it, or you can go ahead and cut ribeye steaks with it. So you can have total customization of what you want to do, and it's so cool when we're saving this much money, and you get to have, like, do I want thick ribeyes? Do I want thin ribeyes? Do I want another prime rib? The choice is up to you. So next, we're gonna go ahead and trim our prime rib and tie it up. I'm gonna show you how to do a butcher's tie, and then we'll go to the butcher math section to see how much money we actually saved. So we got a lot to do still. Let's go. All right, we're gonna trim this prime rib up. This is where you can do whatever you wanna do. If you wanna leave all this fat on here, please go ahead. That's up to you. If you wanna kind of do a little trim, I'm gonna show you how to do that. Basically what's gonna happen is we're gonna turn this over. These little pieces of meat right here is where the rib bones would be. So we're gonna go ahead and trim just a little bit of that because it's a little tough. It's like, think about what the middle of in between two bones on the rib would be. And we're gonna go ahead and just trim this up just a little bit. Now, all of the trim is gonna be used, so there's really no waste on this. If it's hard fat, we're gonna save it for beef tallow and ground beef. All of this trim, the lean trim, we will go ahead and use that for ground beef as well, so nothing gets wasted. Now, there's a little lip right here. I like to take this off. Again, you can leave it on there, but again, that's just a big piece of fat that's not gonna render, and so I really like to take it off a little bit. So it's kind of hard to do with the camera, but I'm just gonna go ahead and round this roast off here, okay? And then we'll look at it and just kind of shape it up a little bit so it's nice and round. But again, we're gonna tie it here in a minute, so it's gonna go from this to like in a nice circle. So you could actually probably leave this just like this, but we're gonna go ahead and tie it anyway, just in case you get one that's a little floppy and you need to tie it up. Another thing I like to do on my prime ribs is to score this fat cap on top. Now, basically what we're gonna do is just make little cuts in a crosshatch pattern And what that's gonna do is make that fat really crisp up and really render out. So that's gonna be like a crispy, crunchy bits on top. And that's what you want, right? You want crispy, crunchy bits. Doesn't that make you hungry? Crispy, crunchy bits of prime rib. We're just going about, I would say, 1/4 inch deep. Not very deep. Again, we're just trying to get that fat cap. Rotate it, and we'll just go ahead and score it that way as well. You need to do it before you tie it up, obviously, because once it's tied up, we're kind of stuck. See, just like that. And now all these little nooks and crannies here are gonna hold in the seasoning. It's gonna fry up, like the fat is gonna render. It's gonna be super delicious. All right, next, I'm gonna show you how to tie it up. So next we're gonna tie this roast up. Now, why do we do that? It's so that it all cooks at an even rate. So it's not all misshapen. We're gonna tighten it up. So we're gonna take our butcher's twine, and then we are going to go underneath the roast in about 1-inch increments. We're gonna leave about 4 or 5 inches on this side, this hanging on side. Then we're gonna take the side that's still connected, okay? And then we're gonna do 2 fingers, and you're gonna make 2 loops, 1, 2. And then you basically just gonna come and reach in and get that dangly end, and we're going to go ahead and tighten this thing up. The reason we did all that rigmarole is so that we don't have to hold it, so it holds its own tension. The knot makes itself. And then we can go ahead and just do a simple overhand knot. Remember Boy Scouts? Yeah, me too. So you make a simple overhand knot and then cut the ends. Do the same thing. We'll go a little further down. Try it again, 4 or 5 inches on one side. Bring the connected end over. We're gonna go ahead and go around 2 loops, 1, 2, and then go in and reach in and grab the dangly end and cinch it up. Overhand knot, boom. Nice and tight. Cut the ends. Another way to do it is just take a big piece of twine, cut it out like this, and go ahead and just tie it up. I mean, we're not curing cancer here, people. This is not rocket science. We are just kind of trying to do our best. Maybe you got to have someone hold their finger there. I don't know if you have someone else that's around, but cinch it up like that. However you get this thing tied is great. You know, all we want is to make sure we got that nice round piece of meat and it's ready for the oven. All right, my fellow meat enthusiasts, we are here to break down the numbers. I've done all the math. I got my Sharpie. I got my butcher paper. We are ready for butcher math. I know you guys are excited, so let's get into it. Let's first start out with how much this would cost if we bought a prime rib at Publix. The current price for a prime rib is $25.40 per pound at Publix. Next, we can go to Costco. What can we get a whole ribeye for? We can get it for $14.99 per pound. Remember, all these prices are the ones in my area that may differ in yours. So bring in our prime rib. We cut this prime rib from our whole from Costco, and it came out to 4.16 pounds. Now, if we were to buy that size of a prime rib from Publix, it would cost us $105.66. While 4.16 pounds at Costco costs us $62.36. This is a savings of $43.30. Man, that is kind of crazy. I just saved you $43.30. Are you kidding me? When was the last time you watched a YouTube video that saved you this much money right now, right here? I don't know. This was so silly. This is like one cut. It was super easy. Anyone can do this. So next, what I want you to do next, if you want to go further with the prime rib, you're going to click this video over here. It's going to go into the how to cook your prime rib. And if you want to switch it up and go to a strip roast, which is like a prime rib, but even cheaper than that, you're going to go over here to learn how to cut and cook a strip roast.